Hello and welcome to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. My name is Natalie Himmelrich. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is completely self-funded, produced and edited by me, Natalie Himmelrich. Consider making a small donation to support the podcast. Go to bit.ly/support, capital G, capital T, and podcast. I repeat, bit.ly/supportgt podcast. Thank you so much. And for more information, please visit Natalie's website, join the podcast Instagram page, and subscribe to the newsletter to receive updates on future episodes. Welcome to this special series on the many faces of trauma. In each episode, we'll explore one trauma type in a clear, gentle way, what it is, how it can show up in daily life, and one small step that can help your nervous system feel a little safer. Nothing here is meant to diagnose you, and you're always invited to take what fits and leave the rest. And because this is trauma work, we'll end every episode with a short grounding practice you can do anywhere. So today we're talking about intergenerational trauma, how stress and survival patterns can get passed down through families and communities. This is non-graphic and general. If you notice activation or shutdown, you're invited to pause, slow down, and come back when you feel ready. So why intergenerational trauma is tender? Intergenerational trauma is one of those topics that can stir up a lot of emotions, because it touches family and therefore loyalty and belonging. Some people worry that talking about it means blaming parents or grandparents, but that's not what it is about. This is about understanding that families often pass down not only stories and traditions, but also coping strategies, emotional rules, survival beliefs, and nervous system patterns. So intergenerational trauma work is not about accusing. It's about making visible what was invisible, so you can keep what serves you and loosen what harms you. So what is intergenerational trauma? Here is a simple definition. Intergenerational trauma is the transmission of trauma impacts from one generation to the next through biology, behavior, relationships, and family culture. Notice the word transmission. It can happen in more than one way. So sometimes through what happened, a major collective stressor in the family history, for example, or sometimes through how people adapted, either through silence, emotional shutdown, perfectionism, and control or control. Sometimes, but it can also be passed down through what was never spoken about. Grief, shame, secrets, family secrets, or unresolved losses. And you don't need to know the full family story for it to affect you. Many people actually have expressed to me that they feel an impact without having any details. So how does carrying of this trauma happens? So let's make it this very concrete, because intergenerational trauma can be carried through, 1, nervous system patterns in the home. As an example, children learn safety by watching and feeling adults, through their tone of voice, pace of life, what happens when someone is upset, and what is allowed and what is punished. So for example, if caregivers are chronically stressed or shut down, kids often adapt by scanning, pleasing, or disappearing. Number 2, family emotional rules. Every family has spoken and unspoken rules, like, for example, we don't talk about feelings, or don't be weak. Another one is, be grateful, don't complain. And another example is, loyalty matters more than truth. So rules like these often are formed to protect the family, but they can cost the next generation their emotional freedom. So number 3 is roles, because intergenerational trauma often creates roles in the family. You might have heard of those, but usually there is a responsible one. Then there's a peacemaker in a family, the achiever, the scapegoat, and the invisible one. There are more, but we won't go into detail here. So these roles are survival strategy in a system that doesn't feel entirely safe. And then number 4, stories and meanings are made. So beliefs are formed, such as the world is dangerous, or you can't trust anyone, or you must work twice as hard. Another one, very common, is love is conditional. These beliefs can be realistic in the context they were born in, and limiting when the context changes. This is why people can feel like they're living out a script that isn't fully theirs. So imagine someone who grew up with a parent who survived a major loss, but it was never discussed. The parent is functional, hardworking, and responsible, but emotionally distant. So when the child expresses fear or sadness, the parent shuts down or says, "Don't dwell, move on." So the child learns feelings are dangerous, needs are inconvenient, and they might become the strong one. As an adult, they struggle to ask for help. They might feel shame when they cry. They might even resent people who are openly emotional because it touches what was forbidden. And important, no one did this on purpose. It's a family system shaped by survival. And now the adult has the chance to create a new pattern, not by blaming, but by choosing repair. Let's have a look through polyvagal lens. These generational traumas are inherited cues of danger. So from a polyvagal-informed perspective, children's nervous system are shaped by the nervous systems around them. So if caregivers are frequently in mobilised protection, so either anxious, irritable, or controlling, or they are shut down, so either depressed, numb, or disconnected, the child system learns that this is the baseline. So intergenerational trauma often looks like a family that is always on alert, or a family that avoids conflict at all costs, or a family that stays busy to avoid feeling, or a family that numbs through work, food, substances, screens, anything to not touch the pain. And when this becomes the normal rhythm, calm can feel unfamiliar or even unsafe. And that's not because anyone is broken, it's because nervous systems entrain to the environment. So how this can show up for you today? Here are some common present-day signs that you might be carrying an older load. For example, you feel guilty when you do better than your family did, or you feel responsible for everyone's feelings. Another one, you struggle to rest and productivity feels like safety. Or you might fear conflict, or you only feel life in conflict as a contrary. Or you hide your needs to keep peace. Or you feel loyalty binds that keep you stuck. Or you might carry shame that doesn't match your actual life. Or you repeat patterns you promised you never repeat. Again, none of this is a diagnosis, it's a map. So what helps? Intergenerational healing usually begins with 2 moves. 1, name what you're carrying. Sometimes a simple sentence changes everything. This didn't start with me. Now, many people find these things to name in therapy because someone else can help them see that. Number 2, decide what you want to continue and what you want to interrupt. You can honor your family and still set boundaries. You can love people and still stop caring what harms you. Some practical steps here. Learn about your family's patterns, such as roles, rules, taboos. Make a list of them. And then practice guilt tolerance, because guilt isn't always a moral signal. It can be a nervous system signal, one that is learned. And then create new rituals. Repair, emotional language, rest. And as I said before, find support outside your system, such as in therapy, in a group, or in a trusted community. And if you're supporting someone doing this work, be careful with just forgive. Many people need validation and safety before forgiveness can even make sense. Let's now use a grounding practice, which I like to call release what's not yours. So this is a gentle visualization plus body cues designed to be safe and non-intensive. Step 1. Find contact. Feel your feet on the ground and let the floor hold you. Step 2. Make a loose fist with one hand, like you're holding something, and notice the effort. Step 3. Open the hand. Now slowly open your hand and let your fingers soften. As you do, imagine releasing one old expectation or burden. Step 4. Say softly, I honor what came before. I don't have to carry it all. I repeat it. I honor what came before. I don't have to carry it all. And name one small choice that represents a new pattern. For example, rest, honesty, asking for help, a boundary, a gentle pause. And let that be enough for today. If you'd like support as you move through this series, check my website for the free resources offered for both those affected by grief and trauma and those supporting them. Next episode we'll talk about betrayal trauma, what happens when trust breaks inside a bond, and why it can affect our sense of reality and safety. Until then, take good care.
Thanks for listening to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. If you'd like to be updated on future episodes, please subscribe to my newsletter on nataliehimmelrich.com. If you need grief support, please contact me for a 30 minutes free discovery session. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is produced and edited by me, Natalie Himmelrich. To support this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. And remember to keep breathing. I promise it will get easier.